My life was put in danger.
Former FBI agent turned Pennsylvania Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick appearing on Face the Nation after the FBI and DHS joint warning was released on Friday. Among the threats was a plot to place a so-called dirty bomb in front of FBI headquarters, as well as online posts calling for civil war and armed rebellion. The bulletin capped off a tense week for the nation's top federal law enforcement agency.
Federal officials are warning the FBI, DOJ, and even some members of the judiciary that there are credible and violent threats against them. And the warning is, of course, coupled with very specific violent incidents that have taken place following the raid of Trump's Mar-a-Lago residence over the fact that he had taken home with him classified documents, including documents that were so sensitive that they can only be viewed in government facilities. He had also lied to federal authorities about having those documents in his possession. But nonetheless, his supporters have decided to come out not only in defense of Trump, but they have in some cases even threatened violence or have used violence against federal officials. And I want to talk a little bit about that in more detail. Now, just as a refresher, the raid led authorities to more than 24 boxes that contained 11 sets of classified documents, some of which were labeled top secret, okay? And so following these threats, in a memo that was obtained by Ken Klippenstein over at The Intercept, the FBI and DHS issued this joint intelligence bullet warning of these threats of domestic violence. For instance, a gunman on Thursday attacked an FBI office in Cincinnati, a story that we talked about in great detail. And the Department of Homeland Security distributed an intelligence bulletin to law enforcement around the country that warned of, quote, an increase in threats and acts of violence, including armed encounters against law enforcement, judiciary, and government personnel after the search. Also, the FBI and the DHS have obtained or observed, I should say, an increase in violent threats posted on social media against federal officials and facilities, including a threat to place a so-called dirty bomb in front of FBI headquarters and issuing general calls for civil war and armed rebellion. And I should also note that in a story that broke a little later today, there was a man in Pennsylvania, a Trump supporter, who was arrested for making very specific threats of violence against the FBI. Another gunman, by the way, crashed a car into a barricade outside the Capitol around 4 a.m. on Sunday. After he exited the car and it became engulfed in flames, he shot into the air several times before killing himself, according to the Capitol Police. And then there's one other thing I wanted to mention before I go to you, Cenk, and that's the fact that Breitbart decided to publish the names of FBI agents who were there at Mar-a-Lago as the raid was taking place. And of course, considering the sensitivity of this topic and the rabid Trump supporters who are willing to carry out acts of violence, this is a way of intimidating FBI officials and putting their lives in jeopardy, really. Breitbart published the names of FBI employees involved in Monday's search. Breitbart reported that FBI gave 2 receipts listing the seized items to Trump's attorney. The longer receipt was signed by FBI special agent. We redacted it. I didn't want to share their names here. And the shorter receipt was signed by another person we redacted and includes redacted. Breitbart's article stated, while not redacting the names, of course, it is unclear who that person is and the handwriting is not the clearest, Breitbart wrote at the time. So Cenk, you talk about this all the time, the idea of stochastic terrorism, but let's also keep it real. In the last week, we've seen very real attempts by the extreme right wing to carry out serious acts of violence. And this has been ongoing. It's not like this Trump raid is the first time we've seen it. Obviously, January 6th is another example. We've seen instances of right-wing gang members in this country ambush cops and shoot them as they're in their police cruisers. This long-standing notion that the right wing is pro-law enforcement is laughable to say the least. They're pro-law enforcement as long as law enforcement is raining terror on the left or people of color.
Yeah, so things have gotten way, way worse. I remember when it was a big controversy when Sarah Palin talking about politicians that should be targeted had Gabby Giffords in the crosshairs. Now, that's bad, really bad. Gabby Giffords was shot in the head, but it was more oblique. There was more vague references to targets and crosshairs and stuff like that. Now they're just saying it. Let's go to the FBI and kill them. And the guy in Pennsylvania was super clear. He's just like, I'm just gonna kill as many FBI agents as I can before they kill me. And so, and now right-wing media, Breitbart, putting out the names of the FBI agents. I mean, that is so direct. And as always, there's of course the double standard. If because they had killed, let's say an unarmed black man, or for any reason, we at the Young Turks put out the names of FBI agents that the government had not put out, I think we'd probably be deplatformed everywhere, right? We would immediately be taken off the air. How dare you? You're putting these guys' lives in danger. These no good liberals targeting law enforcement. Cops are going to get shot. This is outrageous. The right wing does it. Nothing happened to Breitbart. Nothing at all. And nothing's ever going to happen to them. And so when they keep encouraging violence, and they're allowed to encourage violence, hey, look at that, we get violence. So before you could say, hey, they're kind of saying something, it's rhetorical, it could mean something political, it could mean something aggressive, it's hard to tell, can you really put it at their doorstep? No, now they're just saying it. And so there's no ambiguity left at all. And everyone all the way up through Trump is saying the FBI are terrible. We should dismantle them as soon as we get back into office. They're attacking them in every imaginable way. Critique of the FBI is the most normal thing in the world. I would join critique of the FBI. But saying here's their names and somebody should go do something about it is not a legitimate political critique. That's putting their lives in danger. The right wing does it all the time, and there's never any ramifications.
Yeah, and let me just add a little something to that, because you mentioned the importance of critiquing the FBI, and certainly the FBI has a lot of room for critique and criticism, especially given its terrible history and taking part in orchestrating coups of democratically elected leaders, stuff we talk about on the show all the time. But I've seen a lot of, to be generous, I'll just refer to them as the brain dead leftists in this country who will take someone like Marjorie Greene saying defund the FBI and be like, based, Marjorie Taylor Greene's so based. Yeah, except let's really understand what they want here. The right wing isn't interested in doing away with federal law enforcement that, again, rains terror on democratically elected leftist leaders in other countries, or rains terror on ordinary Americans who might be people of color, who might be activists, feminists, environmentalists. I mean, again, long history of the FBI doing all these terrible things to various groups of people in this country. The right wing loves that. The right wing is not used to a traditionally conservative federal agency targeting one of their own. And so when they call for defunding the FBI, what they're really calling for is ensuring that the FBI continues to demonize and focus all of its energy on going after left-wing groups, while completely leaving the right wing alone, or more importantly, providing cover for some of the potential criminality that the right wing engages in this country.
Yeah, and so look, I just had a conversation with Brianna Joy Gray about this, and my point is that you want to have a legitimate discussion about how much funding the FBI should have, how large should their scope be. Great, I'm happy to have that at another time. But right now, when you say, oh, let's delegitimize the FBI, as they're finally holding someone in the elites accountable. Yes, Donald Trump, former president of the United States, a so-called billionaire, is among the elites. And for the first time, we have the FBI holding him accountable. It's a good start. I wish they would hold all politicians accountable, right? And we can work towards that. But to jump in and go, how dare you hold the elites accountable for the first time in your history, let's shut it down now, is obviously absurd, okay? And last thing is, on the doxing issue, I mean, Taylor Lorenz, if she put in something about a flower in the neighborhood of someone's cousin's neighbor, they'd be like, oh my God, she doxed. I can tell that flower's over there. There's a cousin's connected to the neighbor who's connected to that guy. She doxed, right? And then right wing goes out of their minds as if that's the most important thing. Here, Breitbart doxes FBI agents as people are threatening to shoot them left and right. Everybody's like, oh, everybody in the right wing is like, oh no, that one's no big deal.
Yeah.
They're not even trying to make sense. Thanks for watching The Young Turks. We really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.